Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Hawks Latest, your number one source for news, updates, rumors, opinions, and you guessed it, the latest and the greatest regarding the Atlanta Hawks. I'm your host, Zach Langley, aka Langley ATL, and today we've got a full slate of updates to cover. This is the 90th episode of Hawks Latest presented by FanArch. It's been a wild ride so far. I hope you guys have been enjoying the content. We are one step closer to 100 videos. The growth has been awesome to see. But the Atlanta Hawks are making headlines once again. It's been a very busy offseason, and it just continues to catch our eye. As we gear up for the 2025-2026 NBA regular season, there's going to be plenty to break down today. We'll start with the team's latest roster move. They signed Charles Bassey. There are specifics about this deal, which is kind of similar to the other deals that the Hawks have made with some of these guys. So we're going to break that all down in just a second here. Then we're going to shift into what we learned from Eurobasket, a key component to what made this a successful Eurobasket, despite all of the Hawks being out by the time the first round of the tournament is over. Then after that, we're going to dive into Vit Krejci's situation. He struggled in Eurobasket, and he's facing an interesting season for his career. So we're going to kind of break down his expected role and then what to expect from him just moving forward after the season. Finally, we're going to finish with some interesting comments from former Finals MVP Jaylen Brown. I'm sure you all have heard about what he said by now, but that's what we're going to close today's video off with. I'm sure you guys will love to hear all about it and the details around that. It has Hawks fans buzzing. So without further ado, let's get right into it and talk about how yesterday the Atlanta Hawks announced the signing of center Charles Bassey, a 4-year NBA veteran who most recently played for the San Antonio Spurs. I had already talked about Bassey on this channel. This is a center that I had targeted for, that I had listed as a target for Atlanta's potential third big. Honestly, I don't mean to take too much credit here, but I don't know, man. I didn't see anyone else talk about Charles Bassey as a potential Hawks target until I brought it up. But this is also similar to Caleb Houston. I know someone had mentioned that they hadn't heard about Caleb Houston until we talked about it on this channel. So it's just cool to see some of these guys that I've really identified as potential targets for the Hawks actually get a fair shot at becoming roster players. I think that's really cool. The fan in me loves it just because the guys that I'm identifying as targets for the Hawks are guys that I genuinely enjoy playing. I wouldn't want someone on the Hawks that I don't enjoy their games. But nonetheless, the team did not officially release the contract details for Charles Bassey. They never do, so this is not something that we really took as a official report, just considering that they never announced the actual contract details. But all the reports after indicate that this is an Exhibit 10 deal. It's basically a non-guaranteed contract that gives Bassey a chance to fight for a roster spot in training camp. This is pretty much just an opportunity contract. It's the same contract that Caleb Houston has and Kobe Johnson. Just all these guys are going to be fighting for the last two roster spots. N'Faly Dante isn't on an Exhibit 10 deal, but he is on a non-guaranteed deal. So Bassey gives the Hawks exactly what they've been searching for. A third big man to round out the center rotation behind Onyeka Okongwu and Kristaps Porzingis. Just a very elite center rotation. And Bassey, like I explained in the previous video where I talked about him, this is a guy who is not going to be anything better than a third big, but at that role, he is very serviceable and one of the best options on the market. Atlanta already added N'Faly Dante earlier this offseason. It actually wasn't too long ago when they signed Dante. But now Bassey brings more proven NBA experience to the table. And honestly, we may disagree on this, but Bassey is probably in the lead for that third center position if I had to bank on it, just considering what he's probably going to do in training camp. Now, we won't know until we truly get there, but nonetheless, I think he has that edge due to his experience. But, I mean, let's take a look at his production. Looking at his numbers last season with the Spurs, Bassey appeared in just 36 games, so he wasn't someone who played a whole lot, but in the limited minutes that he got in the limited games that he played, he averaged 4.4 points, 4.2 rebounds in just 10 minutes of action. In just 10 minutes, 4 points and 4 rebounds is very fair. He shot nearly 58% from the floor and had some very impressive flashes. This is a guy who can rebound at a very high level. One of his best games came on December 8th, 2024 against the New Orleans Pelicans. Who wouldn't have a good game against the New Orleans Pelicans? He posted 16 points, 12 rebounds. 8 of them actually came on the offensive glass and 4 blocks in only 18 minutes. Those are elite numbers for a very limited selection of minutes. That is elite per minute production and historically rare too. too. I mean, his per 36 was probably, I don't have the numbers right here, and I'm not going to try to do the math in this very moment, but they're probably pretty high. He became the first player since Herb Williams back in 1983 to record at least 16, 12, and 4 in under 18 minutes of play. Over his 4 years in college, splitting time between Philadelphia, not college, over his 4 years in the league, he has spent time with the Sixers, the Spurs. He suited up for a total of 113 games. He's a very traditional center who, kind of acts as just a rim protector and rebounder who very much thrives in limited minutes, which is why I think he'll thrive in a third big position, and it's why I think he will be in the lead for that role. But what really stands out is his absolute dominance in the G League. He averaged 21 points, 10 rebounds, and nearly 2 blocks per game last season in 33 appearances. So the Hawks are holding, some hope that that upside translates. If he can stick, it's something that, Atlanta could seriously benefit from. I mean, at 6'10" with length and strength, this is a guy who could be an ideal third center option. Of course, he's going to face some competition from Dante, and don't sleep on N'Faly Dante. I mean, he's younger. He probably has more potential at this point, but Bassey's a little bit more proven in the role that Atlanta's looking for. Both of these guys had very strong years in the G League, and they should seriously benefit from playing in a system like the one that they have in Atlanta. In Dante's his short stint with the Rockets, he's seriously impressed as just a lob threat and good rim protector. For Atlanta, this is exactly the type of low-risk, high-upside move you want to see at this stage in the offseason. You don't want to do anything too drastic before the season starts, and we are really close to the season beginning. But just a small move like this that could add some interesting competition heading into training camp will be very beneficial. It's going to be highly competitive. I cannot wait for training camp to begin. That is going to be super fun to cover. And Bassey is going to get every opportunity to prove he belongs. So now shifting gears from roster moves to international basketball, we covered Eurobasket over the past several weeks. That is now concluded for all of our Atlanta Hawks. They're in the semifinals now, so none of our guys certainly made it that far, but it's officially wrapped up for Hawks fans, and they can breathe a sigh of relief. Why? Because none of the team's key contributors suffered key injuries during Eurobasket. This may sound simple, and normal NBA fans wouldn't get too excited about this, but with what we have endured in Atlanta, I think this is a very reasonable thing to be excited about. Atlanta, their players stayed healthy. With guys like Kristaps Porzingis and Vit Krejci that were getting some overseas action. I mean, I was very worried. Both of them have had their share of durability concerns over the course of their careers. Avoiding setbacks like this in the summer is a huge win for an Atlanta Hawks team that's striving for contention in the Eastern Conference as early as next season. So let's start with Porzingis, Atlanta's marquee offseason acquisition that really got the ball rolling. His health was the main storyline coming into Eurobasket, but not only did he stay healthy, he looks fantastic in the minutes that he played. He had his struggles from deep early on in Eurobasket, but once that picked up, he was just shooting at a very efficient rate on high volume. Over the course of Eurobasket, he averaged 20 points, nearly 9 rebounds, and close to 2 blocks per game. Just Porzingis numbers. That's really the type of production you think about when you think of a guy like Kristaps Porzingis. Importantly, he suited up in every game for Latvia, showcasing that he can handle a heavy workload even in the big 2025. When Celtics fans seriously did not think that Porzingis would ever get back into shape. This is someone who is coming off of the worst postseason of his career, and there were certainly some concerns that he would never be the Kristaps Porzingis that everyone knows and loves, but he certainly put that rumor to bed, and he's going to be entering a season where he could have the best year of his career next to Trae Young. I said it first. Meanwhile, Vit Krejci, he represented the Czech Republic, and while his overall performance wasn't necessarily spectacular, the key takeaway again was health. This guy stayed healthy, and that's one of the biggest things we were looking forward to, because considering that he was playing very out of his role, Hawks fans know that when Vit Krejci is on the floor, at the very least, he's a reliable shooter and solid defender. Also, a pretty underrated playmaker. Some of the passes Vit makes are ridiculous. His minutes with the Czech Republic were more inconsistent, but that does not change the fact that he'll be expected to provide valuable depth for Atlanta this season. Both of their play at times was encouraging for the Hawks. It was a lot less encouraging at times with Vit, but nonetheless, they showcased replaced what we needed to see. We're going to need both of these guys to be healthy if Atlanta wants to make any sort of run in the Eastern Conference next season. Zachary Rizachet, the second-year forward out of France, he looked very solid in his minutes, and he gained valuable experience competing at a high level before even suiting up for his first NBA game. This is a guy who came straight out of France and immediately made an impact with the Atlanta Hawks. Knock on wood, but this is a guy who wasn't very injury prone at all during his rookie season. He was very reliable, even with Atlanta dealing with all their injuries. So I wasn't too worried about him during Eurobasket. My eyes were really on Porzingis and Krejci, but all of them stayed healthy, and that was great. So the bottom line is that Atlanta survived Eurobasket intact, and that's a huge positive heading into training camp. Media day is right around the corner. Right after that, training camp will get started, and then right after that, the preseason will get started on October 6th. We're already less than a month until all of that. So speaking of Vit Krejci, we're going to zoom in on him for a moment and kind of highlight his struggles. His Eurobasket numbers, they raised some eyebrows because they weren't good. He averaged just over 8 points per game on 29% shooting. But here's the thing. Context matters. He was asked to carry a much larger role for the Czech Republic than he ever will in Atlanta. And while people might automatically assume, like, hey, he's getting much more on-ball opportunity, he's going to be the Czech Republic's kind of lead playmaker, lead facilitator, lead scorer. Surely his numbers will be high and he'll be leading this team to wins, but that's not exactly the case here. When he's way out of position like that, I just can't I have to give Vit the benefit of the doubt. In Quinn Snyder's system, though, Vit Krejci is someone that thrives as a role player, and he knows his role and he plays it very well. He spaces the floor, he hits open threes, and he can defend multiple positions. I mean, we all know Vit Krejci's game. Last season, when he saw extended minutes, he responded with excellent production, including a stretch in April where he shot over 65% from beyond the arc. He finished the season shooting over 43% from beyond the arc, which is still wildly impressive, but just having a stretch of games where you shoot over 65% from three is ridiculous. The Hawks front office will be watching closely this year, though. I mean, they've invested in Krejci with that team-friendly contract. It's that contract that they're giving kind of all of their second-round picks right now. They gave it to Mo Gay after giving it to Krejci, and then this past offseason they gave it to Nikola Jurisic. All guys are expected to contribute in Atlanta and be good rotation players at some point in the future. Krejci's already hit that mark. Mo Gay is getting close to that mark, and maybe Nikola Jurisic will be the next guy. But here's the thing. With the roster continuing to grow and the Eastern Conference becoming more competitive, Vit's margin for error is getting slimmer. So this is something to certainly keep an eye on. If his struggles continue into the season, especially given Atlanta's new direction and really trying to become a contender and bring in these vets, his future with the team could come into question. We certainly need him to be reliable like he was last year. So still though, I mean, Vit is still only 25 and he has shown growth each season of his career. He had the best season of his career last year. Like I said, shot over 43% from deep. And he has strong chemistry with all of the guys on the team. He's a real great locker room guy. Certainly has great chemistry with their star player, Trae Young. He's just a good player to complement the rest of the core, considering his elite shooting and just overall playmaking and just overall game. He's a good defender. For now, though, he remains a valuable piece off the bench, and the Hawks will hope his international slump was just a kind of bump in the road. So finally, what you are all waiting for, let's talk about Atlanta native Jaylen Brown. Hawks fans have dreamed for years about bringing the Atlanta native back home, and for good reason. I mean, this is a very good basketball player, and once again, and we've seen countless times where this has happened, Brown added fuel to the fire. So he actually appeared on the Big Tigger morning show in Atlanta, V103. Y'all all know Big Tigger if you have been to an Atlanta Hawks game. He's the PA announcer at the home games. He's the guy who's Trae Young, like the guy that is making all these calls and providing the in-game entertainment. Brown was asked directly about the possibility of one day playing for the Hawks. I mean, Big Tigger shot straight, which I love. I love that he's asking the questions that everyone wants to know. But his response was, quote, "You never know. I feel you. I think my grandma would too. You never know. We'll see." That's not a no. That is not a no from Jaylen Brown. When a finals MVP and real hometown star leaves the door open, fans are absolutely going to notice. So here's the thing, though. Brown's situation in Boston is certainly complicated. He's coming off of, not last season, but the year before, they won the championship, and he actually won finals MVP. He won that over Jason Tatum. He looked very good, very elite, but with, Tatum out for the entire season next year, and the Celtics cutting costs and, making the deals to send Drew Holiday to Portland and Porzingis to Atlanta, the future there might be a little uncertain. Entering his 10th NBA season, Brown is in his prime, and he may not want to waste his years in a potentially rebuilding situation. Now, next year, he's going to have an option to display what he can do as the first option on an NBA team. So it could be crucial to his career, but if he's playing outside of his role, again, you could see some struggle. His efficiency already dipped a little bit after, last season after their championship run. So, now playing as a number one option with a higher workload, it could quickly turn into a situation where Brown may request out. Let's be clear, though. Let's pump the brakes a little bit. For the moment, at least right now with their currently constructed rosters, Brown isn't the most logical fit for Atlanta. And I'm not saying this is something that could potentially happen this offseason. It's not even in the realm of possibilities this offseason. The Hawks have spent the past 2 summers building, just a complementary team around Trae Young and Jalen Johnson with shooting, length, and defensive studs. But if things don't go according to plan pretty quickly, they could see maybe some panic, or if the front office decides they need a superstar wing to really take the next leap and compete for a championship, Jaylen Brown could absolutely come into play down the line. For now, though, it's more of a fun what if than a real possibility. Clearly, Jaylen Brown is open to the idea. He even said that his grandma has talked to him about potentially coming home to Atlanta. So, clearly there's something there. He wants to come home. He's always repping Braves hats. This is someone who loves Atlanta. He even showed Kristaps Porzingis American Deli, and that's an Atlanta staple. So his comments keep the dream alive for Hawks fans. And given the unpredictability of the NBA, we can't rule it out as something that can't happen. It's not something we can completely rule out. Absolutely not. So to recap today's episode, Charles Bassey joins the Hawks on an Exhibit 10 deal, setting up a very competitive training camp that's going to be super fun to cover. Eurobasket ended with all of Atlanta players staying healthy, which is the best outcome possible. Not a lot of NBA teams can say that. It's a major relief. Vit Krejci really struggled internationally this summer, but he'll be counted on to return to form in the NBA season. I don't doubt him for a second, but if he were to underperform, his position with the team might be at risk. And finally, Jaylen Brown's recent comments have once again sparked speculation about a potential future with his hometown team. I think that's something that could seriously happen in the future, but it's not something in the immediate future that we should focus too much on. So the Hawks are heading into training camp with more depth and more storylines than ever, and we will be here to cover every single angle. If you enjoyed today's breakdown, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. We're going to be pumping out videos every single day, keeping you guys informed on the latest and the greatest regarding the Atlanta Hawks. But let me know in the comments, who do you think is going to win that battle for that third center spot? Will it be Charles Bassey or will it be N'Faly Dante? Right now, I'm going to say it's Charles Bassey. Now, Dante has technically been with the team for a little bit longer. He signed just like a few weeks ago. But Bassey is more experienced, and I think it's going to go to Bassey. But let me know in the comments. And would you want to see Jaylen Brown in a Hawks uniform someday? I certainly would. I don't know with that massive contract if I would want him right now, but it's something to seriously consider down the line. So once again, thank you guys for watching. I'm Zach Langley, a.k.a. Langley ATL, and I will see you guys next time.